Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another installation of my Friday nutrition series where I talk about all things related to nutrition and autoimmune diseases. So today, actually a couple things. One, this is going to be my last Instagram Live series for 2020. Yay! I think the next 2 weeks we have Christmas, we have New Year's, so I will be back in January 2021. Again, continuing my series about nutrition and autoimmune diseases. So, that being said, really excited for this last one of 2020, and I'm talking about one of my most favorite activities and topics, which is exercise. So exercise is super important to include in your daily routine, and it has a numerous number of benefits. However, you have to be careful not to overdo it. So first, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Annie. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, an owner of Annie Rubin Nutrition. It's a private practice that I currently run now virtually out of my home in Palo Alto, California. So I work with clients struggling with a host of symptoms from underlying inflammatory and autoimmune conditions that include pain, fatigue, digestive challenges, and reduced quality of life. So in my work with clients, I help them implement a personalized nutrition roadmap designed to improve mobility and concentration and energy levels to ultimately help them, take back their life and have a great, wonderful quality of life. So for those of you watching, just a quick question. What is your favorite activity to move your body? So you can leave that in the comments. And I'm going to jump on into my discussion. But before I do that, I always attach my disclaimer. So this video is for informational purposes only. It's not a substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. So this is for informational purposes only. Please consult your qualified health professional for any changes to your medical care. And also make sure that, make sure that anytime you start an exercise routine, if you haven't been doing one before and you do have underlying health conditions, that you do, clear it with your doctor or medical provider first. Because, some people, it's great for everyone to move, but, some people do have conditions where you have to be a little bit more careful about that. So just a heads up on that. So today I'm going to start with talking about the benefits of exercise. So a lot of us know that exercise is fantastic for our heart. It can actually increase our good cholesterol, or our HDL, and decrease your triglycerides, which is your bad cholesterol. So in case you missed my blog in September of 2020, I did talk about the relationship between inflammation and cholesterol, because there's a pretty interesting relationship there, especially if we're dealing with inflammatory and autoimmune conditions. So check that out for more information about cholesterol and inflammation. So moderate exercise can also reduce those pro-inflammatory chemicals that are produced by our fat cells, or our adipose tissue, and it can decrease the accumulation of fat in our liver and our muscle tissue. It can also improve your mood. Exercise releases what are called endorphins, or those feel-good neurotransmitters. If you ever heard those people who, run a long distance and have that runner's high, that's kind of the feeling that they're getting. It's those endorphins that are being released, but you don't have to go run, hundreds of miles to have that feeling. You can pretty much do any kind of, moderate to intense exercise workout and still get that runner's high, that feeling. So those endorphins, help us improve they can improve mental health, and they can help reduce stress. So that being said, exercise also helps with reducing stress, for sure. It can also help you sleep better. So it can help you fall asleep faster and then get better quality sleep as well. And then there's a difference between quality sleep and quantity sleep, which I talked about last week. So if you missed that discussion, go back in my archive and catch that one. And then also exercise is a great way to be social. You can do an exercise class with other people. You can connect, if you do classes online, like a Peloton or something like that, you can connect with people online. Working out in a team is a fantastic way to connect with people. And having that connection, with friends or just, being outside in nature, that's really important for healing chronic diseases. So exercise is kind of a really great excuse to, be social and form those connections that can help you heal. So now I'm going to talk about what happens when you exercise too much, because with anything, there's always, too much of one thing can definitely harm you. And, exercise is one of those things. So if you do hard workouts every single day without allowing your body to rest and heal, you can develop something called overtraining syndrome. So this happens when your body can't recover well enough before the next training session. A lot of, high caliber athletes can experience this, but also, your recreational athletes can also experience this. I was very careful when I was training for triathlons and Ironmans and marathons to make sure that I got enough rest, but there are definitely times where I didn't, and I felt like, when I almost hit this kind of overtraining syndrome where I had to take a step back and really, let myself relax and recover so I could, continue on and to train and perform at my best. So if you have overtraining syndrome, you usually experience a lot of fatigue. You can have mood swings. You can be irritable, have increased anger. It can actually lower your immune system functioning, so you can get sick more often. It can cause disturbances in your sleep. One of the kind of the telltale ways to see to tell if you have an overtraining syndrome is you'll have a increased resting heart rate. So if you track your heart rate overnight, if you have like a activity tracker or an Oura ring, you can actually track your resting heart rate. And if it starts to kind of creep up, it may be an indication that you need to take more time to recover and heal and not push your body so much. And then it can also cause hormonal changes, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So women are especially at risk of developing what's called RED-S, which can lead to loss of your menstrual cycle. It can increase your risk for osteoporosis and long-term chronic fatigue issues. Overtraining can also, again, affect the immune system. What it does is it can trigger something called a Th2 cell response that increases your inflammatory chemicals and can suppress your cell-mediated immunity function, which can increase your risk of infection. In fact, overtraining actually increases your risk of developing an upper respiratory tract infection. Also, so when you're exercising, you're kind of in that constant, flight mode, as we call like our fight or flight, right? So, back when we were running away from tigers, we had to, have this huge release of cortisol and to kind of, get our body ready to run. So if you're constantly in that state and not letting your parasympathetic nervous system calm down, your body will overproduce something called cortisol. And I've definitely talked about this before in the past too. So you can go back in my Instagram live videos and find that. But what happens is when you overproduce your stress hormone, which is cortisol, it can lead to something called HPA axis dysfunction, which is, I'm not going to open that can of worms because that is a whole other discussion to talk about. But it basically places your body in a constant state of stress, and it can increase, chronic systemic inflammation. Working out too much can also contribute to a leaky gut, which makes you susceptible to autoimmune diseases if you have that genetic kind of predisposition. And then there's also this really interesting correlation between exercise and health risk. So if you think of like a U-shaped curve, right? When you're sedentary on this side, like no exercise, your health risk is really high. And then as you start to, increase activity, your health risk goes down, it hits about a U. And then as you start to increase activity too much, your risk goes back up. So if you think about kind of the relationship between exercise and health risk, it's this basically this U-shaped curve. So you want to be, at the bottom of the U, moving your body, but not too much. Okay, so now that I've talked about, the benefits of exercise, being careful about, not overdoing it, how do you start a consistent exercise routine? So the new year is upon us. Everyone makes those New Year's resolutions. They usually involve something related to diet or exercise, which is why the gym is such a nightmare to go to in January, because everyone and their mother is at the gym. And then by February, everyone kind of gives up, right? So you don't want to be those people that give up after a month. So here are some really simple tips to make sure that you start getting into a consistent exercise routine. The first thing is schedule it in your calendar. We don't miss our work meetings. We don't miss our social engagements. So why should you miss your exercise time? So schedule it in your calendar like an appointment that you are not going to miss. You also want to find a time that will be ideal for you. So for me, if I don't do exercise first thing in the morning, I will think of a million excuses not to do it. So I have to do it first thing in the morning. I have nothing bothering me. I don't even check my email in the morning. I literally just get up and I go. So that way I get it over with, and I can kind of enjoy the rest of my day, and I'm not, stressed out about thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to get my exercise routine in. The second thing is, get your workout clothes together and put them somewhere where, it's all planned out. So for me in the morning, I always lay my clothes out the night before. So I get out of bed, I grab my clothes, put them on, out the door. That takes me no time. If you, once you start going to work again, and if you're like I like to work out after work type of person, or middle of the day, pack your workout clothes with you and bring them with you so you don't have to come home. Because the second you come home, you have, either your kids or dinner dinner that you have to do, or there's like a TV show, so many other distractions. So by avoiding coming home before you go work out, that'll just kind of, keep it more consistent. If kind of, you haven't exercised before, you're worried about it taking so much time, and then you're not really sure kind of where to begin, and you can't commit to it all at once, try to break it up throughout the day. So that is much easier to do now that we're home. So one recommendation I have is to set an alarm every hour and get up from your desk or whatever you're doing and do 5 minutes of a body exercise. You can do squats. It doesn't even have to be 5 minutes. It could be 1 minute. Squats, push-ups, jumping jacks, go take a walk around your house, take a walk around the block, anything just to get your body moving. And then, I've said this before too, but try to attach a new routine to something that you already do. So, do calf raises while you're brushing your teeth, or squats. While you're making your coffee or waiting for it to brew, you can do a quick 5 minute, little body weight workout, or jumping jacks, or running in place. When you're waiting for your shower to warm up, you could do sit-ups, push-ups. Any time where you're just kind of standing around idly waiting for something, throw a quick workout in. And over time, it's going to build up, at least, throughout the day. My last tip is to just try new activities. So remember that exercise doesn't have to be an intense, gut-busting workout to count. Things like yoga, walking, gardening, dancing, all of those count as just moving your body and kind of getting out there. Generally speaking, all you need is about 20 minutes a day of just movement. Kind of the CDC and health guidelines recommend 150 minutes per week. But break that up. You can break it up throughout the week. When you think about it, it's actually not that much time. Okay, so just to recap, today we talked about the benefits of exercise, what happens when you exercise too much, and then how to start moving your body consistently. For those of you who would like more help managing your autoimmune disease or digestive diseases or digestive issues or inflammation, I would love to chat with you. So if you want to get a head start on those 2021 resolutions, you can do it now before everyone else does it. I am offering free 15-minute discovery calls to chat more about your goals. So you can go to my website or you can go to my Instagram bio and click on the link and it'll take you there. You can also sign up for my newsletter if you need more kind of weekly motivation. And I do have a free ebook on my website where you can download a bunch of anti-inflammatory recipes. So thank you so much for joining me today. This is, again, my last Friday Live for 2020. I look forward to seeing you all in 2021. Please have a great holiday. Please stay safe and healthy, and I will see you in January.